Hey there, it's Jen, and I'm excited because I have been creating a bunch of projects using my new Cypress Upper Alpha stamp set. This stamp set was part of my August release, and it's up for pre-order right now, so you can take advantage of that if you want to get it before it's gone. And the letters themselves are about an inch tall, and it is such a versatile and fun alphabet. So I wanted to show you some different ways you could use it. Now, I didn't create an example just showing it directly just stamped in like black on white paper or anything, because I figure that's kind of a given. But here's the example that I showed in my other video where it's just stamped on some patterned paper. You can, this is just like it has a gradient on the paper, and so it's really easy to use that way. You can of course stamp it on white. This is something I stamped and decided not to use because I felt like it was a weird title. I don't know. Anyway, but you can stamp in multiple colors. Overlapping is fun. So I just wanted to show those examples before I show you the projects that I made. But this stamp set is a really fun one, and I've been having so much fun with it. I think I could use it for a title on every layout. But the first project that I wanted to show you is this one, which is a 6x8 or a spread in my 6x8 album. And what I did was I took a bunch of pieces, or a bunch of I guess they're called prints, that I made with my jelly plate, which basically is a gelatin little surface that you roll out acrylic paint onto, and then you can pick up prints from it. You can use stencils and different things. And I'll just show you a couple of examples of, they're just little artsy backgrounds. So I took some of these and I stamped on top of them the letters and cut them out, and they just look super cool. In fact, I should have taken this out, but I didn't, but I will, so that you can see it a little bit closer, because it looks really super cool. So you can capture, the letters are big enough that you can get a good view of whatever you're stamping on top of. So I really like that. And then I fussy cut them out, which is super easy because they're really a blocky letter. So like the E, you don't even have to cut into those little spaces. You can just cut basically a square. And so it's just really easy to fussy cut this alphabet out since it's so large. And then I stitched through them. So I love the way that it gives impact when you use a large title on something like this. And so that is one way that I thought to use it, is to stamp on top of some sort of artsy kind of background. So you could do inks or paints or whatever you wanted and stamp on top of it and cut it out, which is really fun. The next thing, which is sort of similar to this, is to, sorry, let me grab this layout here. You could stamp on patterned paper. And so on this layout, I just stamped on various scraps of patterned paper, each letter on a different scrap, and cut them out, and it looks really super cool. I love the way that this turned out. So again, this is a large title. I think it gives good impact, and I just really love the way that this turned out. And I stamped in black on top of these, but you can stamp in any color, obviously. You could stamp them tone on tone, so the T would be orange, the H could be blue. But I really like the kind of contrast that the black gives, so I use black quite often. But this is just a layout about my daughter and the funny stuff she says, so I hand cut some little speech bubbles and wrote some of the things that she says on a consistent basis, which is funny. Some of them I don't even know what they mean, but anyway, that was a fun layout to make, so really love that. The next one I want to show you is this one, and this one I stamped on watercolor paper, my title, and you can see I overlapped the letters. That makes them easier to cut out too, because then you've got a whole word you can cut out. Of course, you can stamp it directly on a background. You don't always have to fussy cut them out, but I really love the way this turned out, and you can use any colors that you want. So of course I used blues and greens for this layout about my nephew. I'm always asking my sister to send me photos of him. He's so cute. And so these are a bunch of photos that she had sent me over the course of a few weeks. And let me just show you a close-up of that title there. So you can see that I colored each space differently. So the S overlaps onto the E, so where they joined, I colored that a different color, and that's a fun way to do it too. But you could use markers with this, you could use any sort of medium that you like. And then I also wanted to point out, I stamped these cameras, so on a lot of these layouts I used some more of my new stamp sets, and I stamped these cameras from this daily sketch stamp set that was designed by Irit Landgraf, and that camera is so cute. So I stamped some of the cameras on some watercolor paper and I painted those in to match. So great way to add a little bit to this layout. And then I also wanted to show you, I stamped some of these onto some of the jelly printed backgrounds as well, and I know I set those hearts or those aside so I could show you. Oh, here we go. So these are stamped on top of some of those backgrounds that I created that I showed in the first layout. So those look super cool too. So just kind of fun to play around with. I also stamped some flowers from my lovely peony set, which is from the last release, but still available in my shop. So anyway, that was a fun way to use stamps. So there's that one. Oh, and by the way, these papers, the one with this little rocket ship and the stars, are from Cricut by Rad and Happy, Tara Nearance. She's fun. I follow her on Instagram, and she has a lot of fun stuff. And this is another stamp available in my shop too, a little 3x8 set that I had with a class but then decided to put in my shop. So anyway, love the way that turned out. Super fun. Totally customizable, right? Because you could just paint whatever color you want. So this one is a similar one. I did the watercolor, but I wanted to do it with colors. So I stamped in different colors, and then I painted each letter to match the color I stamped in. So that's just another way that you can use it. It was kind of like this, and then I colored it in, but I didn't have my letters overlapping. So you can use it either way, and if you put your letters close together, you can, I cut this out as one word, so you don't have to cut them out individually. And again, you can stamp directly on the background. Just because I didn't doesn't mean that you can't. Anyway, so that was a fun one too. And then I just used a little mixed media background that I had. I did want to show you, these are my old alphabets that came out last time. They're up for pre-order again too because they've been so popular. This is called the Adorn It Alpha, and I didn't adorn it with anything. I just left it. I thought about, so I practice sometimes when I'm thinking about something. I thought about stamping it like this, but I decided that it just needed some black, but I wanted to show you how cool it looks when you stamp this out. So I love the way that looks. It's so fun to use these little bits and pieces to decorate the alphabet. So the other thing I wanted to show you was on this little tab here, it says, I feel good about this. This is a layout about a snow cone. Of course we feel good about it, right? I die cut a little tab. You could punch it, of course. And then I used the Journey stamp set, and I stamped, I feel good about this. And then I stamped these little lines on the bottom of the tag, or on the bottom of the tab. And I really think that turned out cute. It's kind of imperfect and uneven, and I really like that. So just a fun little thing. Also, I wanted to show you, I stamped this on the background of this has gesso on it, and so the gesso creates a barrier between the paper, so the ink wasn't sinking in, and I tried to stamp something on top of it, and then it bled. So I didn't care enough to change it, but it has like a little purple hue around it, and I'm just living with it. It's fine with me. Anyway, that was a fun one. Okay, this one I'm really excited about. This is the last example I have to show you today, but I was really happy with the way this turned out. So check it. This one, I stamped on the background in a very light color. So you would want to use like, I used a really light pink, I think, but linen ink from Close to My Heart is a really nice, super light gray. You could use any light colored ink, or if you don't have a light color, you can just ink up the stamp and then stamp it off a few times so that you so it gets lighter, and just stamp it like that. but I stamped it and then I poked holes and I used it as a stitching guide. And I used a chain stitch for this, but you could just do a simple back stitch. I love the way that turned out. It was so fun. I did each word in a different color. This was a labor of love. This took me a while, I will say that. But if you like stitching, this is a great opportunity for that. These are some photos of me and my friend CJ using the Face app to make our faces old when everyone was doing that. And this is the perfect layout to also accent this with the So Silly stamp set. So this is the stamp set. Let me just put it on here so you can see it a little bit better. And I used the speech bubble right here and cut it out, and then Life is Better When You're Laughing. I stamped Totally Cracks Me Up, Normal is Overrated, and Finding the Funny. So those are all from this stamp set, these little words and phrases. I love the way this looks stamped next to a photo because it's stacked tall. So I think that looks really cute. And then this little arrow, I just wanted to add in another little pop of white, and that is from the Big High Five stamp set right here. So those are little doodled arrows on that one. So all of those stamp sets are, again, in my shop for pre-order right now. I will be not closing the pre-order, but finalizing quantities very soon. So if you are interested, be sure to check that out. But man, this stamp set is going to be a workhorse, I can already tell. I'm so excited about it, and I hope that you like it too. Really happy with the way that all of these layouts turned out, and it was really fun to kind of play around with all the different ways to use it. I do have an idea in mind to I had some people ask me to do a video about using this Adorn It Alpha so that I can show the different ways that you can adorn the letters. But I will be doing a video about that as well soon. But this is, again, this sold out, and I put it back on pre-order because I'm going to order some more. So if you are interested in that, be sure to grab that. So here are a bunch of close-up photos of all of the layouts that I showed you today. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that you'll check this stamp set out if this looks like something fun to you. I love playing with and concentrating on one set at a time just to see all of the different things that I can do, and I have more ideas, so I'm excited about that. Again, I will link to everything in the video description that I talked about, and if you have any questions, just leave a comment and I am happy to try to answer that for you. Don't forget that there are other stamp sets up for pre-order in my shop as well, and you can check those out at the links that I leave in the video description too. Here are a couple other videos that you might enjoy, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you back here again soon, and if you aren't a subscriber, be sure to hit that button so that you can see new videos from me each and every week.